There you go. Let's get on YouTube.
I'm posting the link na rin on Twitter.
Yeah. Yung YouTube na lang mo.
Yep.
Yeah, let's push that one more.
All right. Yan na. We're
Good evening,
live on Facebook.
Bruce. What up?
Yung mga usual suspect.
Bang news today?
Trade
what's the-
deadline.
Oh yeah, trade deadline.
Hey, Jules. I can't speak for Ro or Emil, but I am fine because I have enjoyed the chaos of NBA trade deadline 2023.
Wala akong opinion. Like, you know, I'm a casual, so there's nothing much for me to say.
Etong si Emil, he follows it about as closely as I do. Emil, baka nakamute ka lang.
Yeah, so yun, daming nangyari over the last couple of days actually. So and the thing is, di pa tapos yung deadline. It's gonna be later at like 4 a.m. Yeah,
Yep.
so while working, I'm gonna be tuning into ESPN.
I'm just gonna wake up tomorrow morning, man, and I'm just gonna back read everything. Bruce, KD to the Suns. Pustahan tayo in like 1 or 2 years. Chris Paul is gonna rage quit in a group chat on a Sunday morning.
Well, Julian, ginusto mo yan eh. Which platform do you guys prefer more? Because we're kind of pushing YouTube because YouTube is a lot easier to access and watch from. So, anong mas gusto niyo? I've never liked Facebook much as a live streaming platform.
Is it weird na sobrang sanay ko na sa Facebook because we've been doing it there for like
Yeah.
the last 3 years? Parang, wala, sanay na ako eh. Andun eh.
Yeah, but it's really clunky to use. What up, Aaron? Was Twitter better when tweet lengths were just 140 characters? I didn't like 140 characters. I thought that was too limiting. 280 is like the sweet spot. So
Yeah, 280 is the right number for it.
Dami na ngayon eh. Like, I'm not sure if you guys saw yung mga ibang
Yeah, I saw
sports
it,
writers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Buong article na ang puta.
Like the first one I saw was from The Ringer, si Kevin O'Connor.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connor. Ako rin.
Yeah, gulat ako na meron pala ganun. Like, what the-
Twitter articles eh, no? After Spaces. Wild. Hey, Fred. Hey, Ina.
Hello, people in the comments.
Oh, by the way, do we have time?
have a
Together,
minute.
we have a minute. If we were to hold a live studio session in which you guys were free to come in and be a part of the audience, would you guys come? It's likely going to be on a weekend, and it's going to be a big event. Would you come and watch us live? Just leave your answers sa chat. If you guys listen to the Cool Pals, this is what they do. So we've been pushed to do the same as well. So that's why we're asking. Yun. Meron na tayong mga guest list. All right, shutting up now.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
I said, give me a hell yeah! Hey, this is Zeta Zay.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Talent is not sexually transmitted.
You need to go back to the drawing board because your game absolutely sucks.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I'm Lewis Howley. I'm Sam Scotia. We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov. This is Czar, the NXT UK champion, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You're watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Ro Moran, and Emil ASH checking in on another Thursday back to our normal stream from home setup. And while last week was fun, hindi naman natin kayang gawin every weekend for now, right? So, balik tayo to normal, back to business. I'm breaking one of my self-imposed rules, which is to not wear sleeveless tops on the stream in honor of LeBron James. We are witnesses to greatness. So, naka-LeBron jersey ako dito for in honor for LeBron and his record-breaking moment from this past week. Let's also say hi to
I want to segue to that. Speaking of greatness, of greatness, we want to say hi to our ex-babyface producer, Nikay. Yun, miss ka na namin. Di mo naabutan yung bagong studio.
No, she is on to greener pastures based on the things she's been posting and the places from where she's checking in. So, buti pa si Nikay, nakaahon na mula sa laylayan. Ano? All right, we have a lot to get to for this week. A lot to process, actually, which is also kind of nice na we now have the Pick of the Week episodes, which if you haven't been checking them out yet, they drop every Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. So kung nakukulangan kayo sa mga pinag-uusapan natin on the streams, please check out those Pick of the Week episodes, all right? We actually put a lot of effort into those now that we have a bit more time to talk about our favorite matches or segments from the week. But if you want more of the Wrestling Podcast, you can be part of our growing Wrestling Podcast Patreon community, and Emil ASH is going to tell you how.
All right, so Elimination Chamber is in 2 weeks, and we're gonna have our watch party, but not in the usual watch party na nakasanayan na natin. And now because of Disney Plus and it's cheaper than the old WWE network, I am sure that most of us already have our own Disney Plus's accounts. So we will have a watch party in the sense of we will have banters, live pay-per-view talks, just chilling with everyone on a Sunday on a Sunday morning. And if you want to enjoy that, you can subscribe to our Patreon for as low as $5, and the link is www.patreon.com/wrestling podcast is right there below. And other perks of being a Patreon is you could join our Discord community where we
being
talk
a patron
about...
naman, Emil, yung Patreon yung platform.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. Let's let him cook. Let him cook.
Another perk of joining our Patreon is also joining our Discord community where we talk about everything and anything under the sun. Of course, wrestling, but also we talk about lifestyle, sports, food, gaming, and anything else. So, and also you could get some exclusive review content of the weekly shows, Raw, SmackDown from Rowan, and also local wrestling shows like MWF. And yeah, everything and anything about wrestling, you could join us. You could also support the You could support the podcast by joining our Patreon again at patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as $5. And in today's money, that's 270 or 260.
Yeah, 272 pesos.
Almost perfect. Almost perfect. You just missed the part. You just missed the part where we also have pasabays.
Yes,
pasabay. Yon. Which we will be doing in a bit kasi malapit ng WrestleMania and we have quite a bit of perks from the WWE shop. So if you want to get legit WWE merchandise like we've been posting over the past few days, sali na kayo sa Patreon. My baby's growing up. He did such a good ad read.
All right. So, congratulate naman natin si Emil for surviving that ad read. Every time that our ASHs do not choke, that's a win in our book.
I taught him well.
Thank you.
All right, let's get down to business and defeat the Huns. First topic natin for tonight, we're going to talk about Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. The feud has officially begun, especially after what happened on SmackDown. Sami Zayn came for Roman Reigns, and yes, dahil underdog babyface si Sami, natural lang na Roman will still have the upper hand. But as we're already seeing, the bloodline is in tatters. Jey Uso was nowhere to be found on SmackDown. So now we're getting the main event for Elimination Chamber in Montreal, Sami Zayn's home turf, diba? It's Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns. And while it seems like this isn't going to be a WrestleMania matchup at all, I guess we'll have to be happy with the fact that we're getting it to begin with.
Yeah, this is still my preferred main event for WrestleMania. Syempre, kasi the people want it. It took a while for them to get to Cody and Roman, which we'll talk about in a bit. But this is what the people want, and it's still kind of sad na na-echo pa rin siya because of Cody. This is the move. I don't know. I don't know if they're still gonna do something big. I don't know if they're gonna pull a swerve out of their ass and find a way to put Sami in that main event at WrestleMania. But as of this Monday's Raw, it might not be looking that way. But I just really want it because this was again, like I said last week, this is the organic thing that they were building up to. Diba? This was the organic story that they ended up really blowing up. And it wasn't Cody's fault. It wasn't Cody's fault na injure siya. It wasn't Cody's fault that he had to take some time off and not be around. It wasn't Cody's fault that there was an honorary Uso storyline that Sami really ran with. And it shouldn't be Cody's fault at all and it shouldn't be Cody's problem and bitterness na there is a story much better than his.
Eto, Ro, let me ask you this. Sabihin natin na we get a repeat of 2019 and we have Sami Zayn inserted as the third man here. Kind of like Becky Lynch dun sa Charlotte Ronda WrestleMania main event. Would that make you happy?
I think it would, pero it would also depend on how they do it. Like, syempre, yeah, you got faith in Triple H's creative here, pero you don't know. I personally can't foresee a way na magagawa nila yun. But syempre, just because I can't see a way and you can't see a way doesn't mean there isn't a way. I just don't know what that is yet. But I have a feeling and I have more faith than I did last year. If they did do that, they would find a good way to make it make sense.
Ikaw, Emil, what do you think about this one? Kasi, it still could go a bunch of different ways, but if we're to look at it at face value, ito lang yun, Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber is a roadblock en route to Roman Reigns going to Hollywood to face Cody.
I mean, karamihan naman siguro, including me. I still wish that the Mania main event would be Roman versus Sami because usually WrestleMania is where you would wrap up long-term stories, and this one is obviously longer than the Cody versus Roman one. So, but yeah, I think nasa ano na ako, 50% acceptance na ako na ito talaga yung mangyayari. But the only problem maybe I'm seeing is that if we get something of a inconclusive finish at the Elimination Chamber, that might lead some people to even root for Sami more because he never got a fair chance at Roman. So maybe they'll push for like him. Yeah, yung sa point nilo earlier na how would they insert Sami into it? Maybe have a screw finish, yung talagang feel mo malapit na parang deserving na ni Sami manalo but they pulled it under his rug at the last second in which they could still debate whether or not na just yung parang inconclusive nga. The only way I could see it is an inconclusive finish that maybe you could justify Sami being inserted in. But other than that, yeah, yun na nga, no? They are booked into a corner here where they have two separate storylines, great storylines. So sila na siguro bahala doon on how are they gonna make sure that each story can be wrapped up really well.
Sabi ni Fred sa comment, sana hiniwalay na lang yung titles. Have Cody challenge for the WWE Championship, have Sami challenge for the Universal Championship. At this point, I don't know how you can do that when you've already built both events to be for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship.
I want to quote. I was reading something kanina from WrestlingNews.co. The original plans were, if The Rock were here, the original plans were there were going to be two championships. They were going to create a new championship for Cody, the Royal Rumble winner, to compete for, with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. So entirely new thing, and then the Roman Reigns and The Rock would go for the two belts ni Roman. So that was one way. I don't know. Obviously, that's not going to work now, and it's not in the plans now. But as for the separation of the championships, it's easy because you can just go straight forward with it and say, okay, Adam Pierce finally comes to his senses and says this unified championship business is bad for business, and then what I'm gonna do as the board, whatever higher power there is, has decided to do was Sammy is going to compete for one championship, the Universal Championship, because it's SmackDown, diba? And then Cody is going to compete for the Raw, for the WWE Championship because it's Raw, diba? So it's easy as that. Just like it's like what he did with the Usos. He made a champion. He made a contendership match for the Raw SmackDown, the Raw Tag Team Championships, and a tournament for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. It's really easy as figuring out that you need to split the championships and just straight up doing it.
Sabi ni Glendale na he
Saka,
senses Cody winning both and then he'll divide them on the Raw after Mania. I don't see the point of doing that. Kind of like
Yeah.
si Keith Lee when he had both championships in NXT, inabdicate niya bigla yung North American title. I actually didn't see the logic there.
Yeah, if I were a wrestler, I wouldn't give up the other championship because in theory that's like double the pay. Because I have two championships technically, so it really has to be up to an authority figure to say now, okay, you can't play with both toys.
Yeah. Sorry, Emil. We cut you off there.
saka, di ba, the two networks, USA and Fox, wants their own like world title. That's why hindi pa talaga siya truly unified at this point. So, mas easy na lang talaga na they would just split the titles para everybody happy, I guess.
Yeah, it's all a matter of internal will at this point. How willing are the people in charge to finally separate the championships, diba? I think all of us generally feel the same way towards having just one guy holding both championships in WWE. On that note, let's talk about Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman because, man, that promo, holy crap, that is an early promo of the year contender right there. And yung takeaway ko from this exchange between Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman is very rare that you would root against Cody coming out of the promo unless you're Raw. Everyone else is probably on Cody's side now coming out of this promo because it was so emotional, it was so personal, and the only word you could really say coming out of it was damn. So props to Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman for really going all out here in writing the first pages of the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns story.
Emil, go. You go first.
Yan nga, no? Kudos to both Heyman and Cody for, I think, making us finally be invested in this feud. Like we were thinking of ways of how can they make this feud as personal as the other storyline, the Bloodline storyline, and I guess the way to do it is the way they have done it on Raw. And iniisip ko nga, this is very on brand for Roman Reigns to make this feud personal. Kasi on Cody's perspective, he's just after the championship. Like he won the Royal Rumble and now he's gonna compete at the main event of WrestleMania. But Roman Reigns wants I guess more stakes than that. And he made it personal by getting into Cody's head via Paul Heyman, which again, napakagaling nun. Kahit wala si Roman doon, I can see his fingerprints all over that. So napakagaling, sobrang galing. Napawaw talaga ako with that promo on Raw.
I wonder how they came about putting this story together. Like, uh, I know I'm spitballing, but I know it's the influence of the TV writers that Vince originally hired. Diba? But now they actually get to do their thing and strut their stuff for Triple H. So ano kaya naisip nila? Oh, sabihin mo na ano, yung gusto anak ni Dusty si Roman talaga. Tapos ano, uh, I mean, how do you think of that? Like, yeah, man,
That's teleserie shit, dude.
Yeah, teleserye.
Dusty did train the other guys, and Dusty did not train Cody because I know Cody went through OVW,
Yes.
so there's that. So that's really amazing. In my notes, I said that the thing missing from a lot of for a lot of WWE fans is that really great, genuine performance. And as much as I dislike how Cody presents himself because he is in charge of himself, I have to admit and I have to agree that he really does know how to tug those heartstrings, and he really is a good actor. Like, there is a reason why he's been on TV in the past year since leaving WWE. So he did pick up a thing or two from Stephen Amell, right? Uh, and it's these things that prove that when we watch wrestling, we're not really watching the nice fights, the great action. Yes, those are great things, but we're also really in it for the drama, for the melodrama. Like, why were we all hooked in the first place? It wasn't because people were risking their lives for us, but also because we love drama, we love the tea, and this segment was cinema, as we like to say nowadays. Because ito na yung bagong buzzword. This cinema is a new banger. It's true though. It is true. I've been seeing cinema a lot more, and because Triple H has allowed cinema to blossom in his regime, diba? But whatever Bray Wyatt is doing, that's not cinema. Yeah, everything you guys mentioned, I agree with. As a Cody hater, though, I definitely liked Paul Heyman's mic drop moment more, literal mic drop moment more. That was really good. It takes a twisted kind of genius to come up with that and use those little details to deliver a sick, gut punching burn that will make you question everything that you thought you knew about your father. Diba? So that was really good work. Really, even better work for Heyman because he was the one who spun the yarn. He was the one who tied together Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Cody just made the first step with the whole ECW story, but that was like Cody towards Heyman and not Cody towards Roman. Heyman made the connection between Cody and Roman and Dusty. So that was that was even better work from him. He is the MVP of this segment, bar none. I mean, like, yes, Cody delivered a great performance, but I believe that Heyman was the genius behind that detail.
So I always like to say that a promo is a match and a match is a promo. I've heard that before and I like repeating it because it's true. And this particular segment between Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman really illustrated that. And I don't want to spend the entire podcast or the entire live stream just breaking down this one promo. I'm going to do that on the Pick of the Week episode on Tuesday. So watch out for that. But if you're trying to learn how to tell a good, compelling story on the mic, and if you're trying to learn psychology without yung actual wrestling, like the psychology of a promo, of character work, this segment between Paul Heyman and Cody Rhodes has a lot of things that you can pick up, a lot of tips and tricks that you can integrate into your own work if you ever decide to get into the business one day. So yun, I'm gonna do a little bit of a tape study session on that for Pick of the Week next.
But I mean, like,
Tuesday.
not everyone gets the chance to deliver that kind of promo. Like, not everyone gets to be in Cody's shoes and Heyman's shoes. Diba? So
Yes.
it's nice, yes, but let's not pretend that every wrestler is gonna get this crying Cody moment.
Oh yeah. No, that's true. No, not everyone deserves that amount of mic time either. I'm just saying that if you ever find yourself in this situation, the Cody and Heyman promo is a good place to start like studying and picking stuff up.
Yeah, fair.
All right.
Fair.
One last thing on this on this segment. this basically tells us that Roman and Cody is the money main event for WrestleMania.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to talk about that. That's why I said I was sad that Sami and Roman is just gonna do Elimination Chamber, because I don't see a way, especially after this, that they invest in Sami versus Roman any further unless they find something. Pero the way this is set up is like it seems to be pure Cody versus Roman, and um, to introduce Sami naman into that mix will muddle it the same way you introduce Cody to Sami versus Roman will muddle it.
I don't know. I feel like nakita na natin to di ba, with Brian in 2014. So what if like the fans hijack the shows ulit and really just insert Sami Zayn in the WrestleMania main event out of pure goodwill from the audience?
Ito nga, this promo, the way that it was so good kind of insulates you from that, because you're spending time now being compelled by Cody and Roman and Heyman, that you don't see the need. Yeah, like I said, you don't see the need for Sami here anymore, the same way you don't see the need for Cody in Sami versus Roman.
All right, sige. People in the chat, let us know what you think. We're gonna take a quick break as you type in your comments. Anong mas prefer nyo na? It's just Roman and Cody? Is it a triple threat? Whatever it is you feel like should happen at Mania, leave it in the comments section as we make way for our fellow kapodcasts who would like to tell you about their shows on Podcast Network Asia. And we're back, so we're going to keep talking about the stuff that happened in WWE this week. We're going to go back to SmackDown from last weekend. And let's bring up Ricochet and Braun Strowman here, because they've emerged as the bracket busters of the tag team #1 contenders tournament. They weren't even in the tournament, and all of a sudden they have won, and they defeated Imperium, and now they get a shot at the Usos. Na hindi natin alam if Jay will show up on SmackDown on Saturday morning Manila time. Emil, what do you think about Braun and Ricochet blindsiding us all here?
It's a surprise. Kasi they weren't even in the tournament in the first place. Tapos sila yung nanalo. I was expecting Imperium to win, pero because of the circumstances around the storyline, I just don't see the Usos losing yet the tag team titles. So if you want someone to to put the Usos over without destroying their credibility, it's Braun and Ricochet. So I think for that purpose, going with Ricochet and Braun Strowman was a good choice. But this was a tag team tournament, and for a team who's not really tagging that much, it makes your tag division look not that great. So,
Ikaw, Ro, what are your feelings on this?
Fred, let's not disrespect Ricochet that way. Unlike Andrew Tate, Ricochet has a chin, and he is not a sex trafficker. So let's move away from Andrew Tate. There are other people who deserve to be called Andrew Tate. But anyway, this is interesting. Yes, you do need. They are giving Ricochet his flowers. Braun is along for the ride. I think they have a better shot at stealing the SmackDown Tag Team Championships from the Usos, kasi yun nga, nasabi natin na the Usos are one half at the moment, right? Because Jay is nowhere to be found. Although there is the issue of whether or not Kevin and Sami will be teaming up at WrestleMania to play for the Tag Team Championships. So that depends, I guess, but I don't know. We've seen the Raw Tag Team Championship shot go nowhere, really, which was fun, but it went nowhere. So there's also a big chance na wala rin mapupuntahan to. But, fingers crossed. I Braun Strowman and Ricochet weren't my ideal new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Like, I would have had Imperium be in that spot, but it does make sense then.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Ro, there is a bit of an issue with splitting the championships because if you look at the graphic, it's actually suggesting that it's for the undisputed tag team championships, even though the tournament was said to be for the SmackDown
Yes,
Tag Team
that is
Championship
weird.
lang. Yeah, kind of odd lang, no? I don't know. I don't know anything. Just basing it on the graphic that I got from Google kanina. So, what do you guys think? Because if it's for the undisputed tag team championships and not just the SmackDown titles, I don't think Braun and Ricochet are winning at all.
Yeah, I don't like that. That is a Vince level bait and switch, if you will. So, but yes, if it is for the undisputed tag team championship, the chances are even slimmer.
Ikaw, Emil.
Saka, I think if they are serious in splitting the titles, they wouldn't go with Ricochet and Braun Strowman. For me lang if they were really to split and have the next tag team to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships to be a legitimate tag team, it should have been either Imperium or siguro the Brawling Brutes. So because of their choice, no, because of their choice of going with Ricochet and Braun to win the tournament, that speaks to me that they're not thinking of splitting the titles now. We don't know post Mania or at Mania, but as of right now, I think they're sticking with the Usos as the undisputed tag team champions.
Yun, nagsasalita na yung mga friends natin in the comment section who are saying that they have since updated and fixed the graphic. So apparently it is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
Where's
Abangan
your
na lang
proof?
natin on Saturday.
I want to see the proof. Drop the link.
Leave the link para makita din namin.
Yeah. Kasi, ano eh. I mean, that was
So-
from TV, diba? So,
Yes.
you know.
I don't know, they could
Anyways.
have changed things in the 5 days since. That could
Yeah,
have
just
happened.
show us the proof. Show us the source.
Yeah.
Yun lang naman.
And then, we'll see on Saturday morning when we wake up and watch SmackDown. Right? Sige, sabihin natin it's for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. With the Usos not aligned for the first time in forever. Would they have a shot kung SmackDown lang yung pinag-uusapan dito?
That's what I said the first time. So, Emil, what do you think?
Kung SmackDown lang siguro, pwede. Pero I think siguro may chance. Pero I think Jay wouldn't appear on SmackDown, but I think it will be Solo defending. Parang yung they already did it with Sami
On Raw.
substituting for for Jimmy. So I think Solo will replace Jay at least in this match to at least defend the title. So I think ganun yung mangyayari.
All right. Sige. Let's go to Raw now, where one of the big highlights is Lita surprising us all with a return and helping out Becky Lynch. And the last time we saw Lita on TV, it was right around Elimination Chamber season when she was feuding with Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. This was not on my 2023 bingo card. So, Emil, what do you think of this return? Kasi, I don't know when you got into wrestling, but I'm assuming na hindi mo kapanahunan si Lita.
Yes, hindi. Yung first time na nakita ko si Lita was on Raw 1000 and she was already retired by then. So, but yeah, it was a welcome surprise, I think. I was thinking of a connection with Lita to the storyline, pero wala. Pero it was a nice pop. And also Becky hinted na at a promo before the match that she has some backup, I guess, she has some backup prepared just in case the other members of Damage Control get involved. So I didn't expect it to be Lita. I was expecting it to be siguro some other tag team, some other women's tag team. But it's a welcome surprise, pero it doesn't really add up anything to the ongoing story because wala naman siyang connection. But if it's only a one-off appearance, then it is a great pop, with great pop to the crowd. So yun.
Yeah, yung bali-balita sa internet is that it's going to be Becky, Lita, and a returning Trish Stratus against Damage Control at Elimination Chamber. So, let's say totoo nga yun. What do you think about this development, Ro?
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, Emil was right. What the hell is this all about? Like, yes, it's nice to see Lita. It's nice to see Trish again. Pero why? Wala bang friends? Wala na bang friends si Becky backstage that she had to
I
get?
think that's the point. Wala nga talaga siyang friends.
Yeah, but she is better now. I mean, she's. It's not like she's being the anti-hero now. She's not the problem right now. So it doesn't make sense that she would get the person she was actually feuding with last year, which you would think, now, okay, I don't like you because we were fighting last year. And two, you get Trish Stratus, which has literally no history with you. Diba? So this one needs a little more legwork to make sense. And I'm hoping they give us that next week before the chamber itself. Because otherwise, this makes even less sense than the people Triple H had been bringing back since taking over.
The thing about Raw is go home show na tayo by Tuesday. So
Yeah,
there's not
exactly.
a lot of time to for that legwork.
No, there is. Just explain. It wouldn't take Becky long to explain. Like, just connect the dots, like the way Heyman and Cody did.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Emil, any other thoughts on this one? Like, given that Trish is also before your time.
Yeah, siguro they're gonna go with Trish because it's Canada, and every time they go to Canada, they'd always like hometown. I mean, she's not really from Montreal, but still Canada. They like to have someone to pop the crowd because Canadian crowds are amazing. Pero yun, although ito na nung nakita ko si Lita, I can't believe how good she looks for ilang edad na ba siya? Like she's like 40, di ba? 40 plus.
Yeah, Lita is in her 40s.
Yeah, she looks really good for her age, and I think, and kudos her for taking good care of herself, I guess. Na at this point in her life, she can still, even though hindi na siya regular, she can still go out at some point and and still come back to wrestling. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if the rumors are to be believed, we're gonna get that 6-woman tag, Becky, Lita, and Trish against Damage Control. Ito sabi ni sabi ni Aaron, sayang di mo rin naabutan yung celebration nila ni Edge.
Well, it's always on the network. Wala pala network. Yeah, it's probably in YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, if you really want to find something, I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Last bit from Raw before we go over to NXT. As quickly as this alliance formed, it is now over. JBL told Baron Corbin to his face, "I've tried polishing a turd. It doesn't work," or something to that effect. Basically, tinawag niyang tae si Baron Corbin. This partnership was kind of random, but I kind of got behind it because I do enjoy JBL's heel work. So the only reason I'm kind of sad is because we might not see JBL on TV again for a while.
Sige. I think the reason why it didn't work was because other than JBL taking Baron Corbin under his wing, wala naman sila iniba kay Baron Corbin. Eh. Like, they didn't make Corbin wrestle like APA JBL, diba? Or even JBL JBL kasi Bradshaw siya ng APA. And it was just the same weird Happy Corbin character with a manager. And it didn't really make sense. They didn't really put that much effort into it. Like, the whole idea was that Corbin was a throwback, but they didn't really lean hard into Corbin being a throwback. So it was doomed from the start because they couldn't, or they didn't want to get it off the ground. And as much as it was something for Corbin, sayang lang. Like, I don't know if this is one of these things na it was okay to abandon because it wasn't getting anywhere, but it wasn't getting anywhere because they weren't interested in doing much with it. So I ragged on Vince before for not giving his own creations a chance whenever it didn't work. But this is kind of the same thing, and it's kind of sad because you expect more from the Triple H regime.
Saka
Sige, go ahead.
saka they, to be fair, they did those like poker segments naman to at least yung ma-feature si Corbin on TV. But the problem was they would always have him losing and make him look like an idiot. Where JBL in his heyday, Like he was a heel, pero ano siya he was a successful heel. Lagi siya nananalo, like he would always brag it to your face. But with Corbin, yun lang talaga, he's only being managed by JBL, but he's not getting any traits that maybe JBL had. So it is such a waste. And yun na nga. And I think this is only a way for JBL to be written off because I don't think he wants to be on TV every week since he's already retired and hasn't been active before becoming Corbin's manager.
Yeah, that's a great point. Maybe behind the scenes, John Charles Layfield, the human being, doesn't enjoy being on the road as much as he thought he would.
Oh
That
yeah,
could
that's
very well
true.
be possible.
Why did he? Wait, he knew that though. Why did he take the job if he didn't like being on the road?
Baka naman you're like from the outside, you're like, oh, I miss the environment. Then you get back in the swing of things, and you're like, yeah, I kind of like my situation when I was happily retired. Alam mo yun?
Yeah, that happens. That happens naman, no? Very
Oh.
oftenly.
Diba? Mapapasubo ka. You did bring up a good point, Emil, na unlike JBL when he was on his way to the WWE Championship, since hooking up with JBL, Baron Corbin hasn't really done anything of note. Like, I remember when JBL was being pushed as the number one heel on SmackDown, he sucked up to Kurt Angle, he won the Great American Award, remember that? And then he got his shot at Eddie Guerrero. Baron Corbin got nowhere near to any accolade like that or any rub from like an authority figure who JBL as a manager you would have assumed he would have sucked up to that authority figure. Wala eh. Mas may screen time pa tong si Chelsea Green being a Karen towards Adam Pearce.
Yeah, and Janelle's right. He was the last man to pin Roman, and why couldn't they have leaned to that? But that was that's a detail that could have made him like he was the only one who was able to pin the tribal chief before he became the tribal chief, diba? Yun talaga. You can tell talaga that not everyone is equal on the roster. Like, not everyone gets the same kind of love from the booker. And as much as you want to get behind someone, sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you want it for them.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens next week if JBL somehow returns or kung talagang wala na tong JBL Baron Corbin storyline.
Ito, what siguro if you're like if you have ideas, how can you revive Baron Corbin? Like,
well, I
they
just
tried
said it.
everything, They tried everything with Baron Corbin. It just
No, they I don't think they did because they have not really tried making him the lone wolf again. They haven't really gone back to that kind of serious gimmick for Baron Corbin. And yeah, like I said, the whole JBL partnership could have been that if they figured out what they wanted Corbin to do with JBL. Like, I thought the whole idea was to make him like a wrestler's wrestler from the 90s and 2000s. Diba? That was the whole thing JBL was saying. That none of these other guys are as hard, no pun intended, as Corbin. Because these are all what? Soft millennials, soft zoomers. And not Corbin though. He is a guy in the same mold as Bradshaw in the APA. So they never really took that and applied it. It was just really, like I said, it was really just Happy Corbin with a manager.
Yeah, this version of Baron Corbin was still very silly, especially pag may backstage segments.
Ayun, Aaron was right. I did think of that, Aaron. Maybe this is a way to get back to bum ass Corbin, which would be really great if they did, because that was the best Corbin character, and
I agree.
I feel like Triple H would do that a lot better than Vince.
Yeah. Side note on bum ass Corbin. The bum ass Corbin action figures are available locally at Toy Kingdom and Toys R Us, and it's so hilarious seeing them up close. Yun lang. I just had to get that out there. All right, let's go over to NXT and talk about that breakup. Toxic Attraction, no longer a team. They recreated the Rockers breakup, their own barbershop moment. Malas lang ni Gigi Dolan that the door did not swing the way they wanted it to, so talagang sumalpok yung mukha niya dun, which gave Gigi a nice photo to post on Instagram and Twitter. Kind of gnarly bruises on her face though. But yeah, I think some of us did call that Toxic Attraction would break up, but I did not expect Gigi Dolan to be the face here. until Vengeance Day, where it was clear that she was the most organically popular talaga. So I'm pretty excited for this because I do love both members of Toxic Attraction, so I want to see where this goes. Emil, did you think that Gigi would be the face here?
No, Nene. I didn't thought she was going to be the baby face because yeah, they did the rockers like shot the rockers makeup, but I always thought that Gigi Dolan was the Shawn Michaels of the team, not JC Jane. So it's kind of kind of weird that the turn was the other way around. It was JC turning on Gigi Dolan, but I guess what happened as well. It was what happened was great, and I liked it. But nakasad lang because we have been saying na the main roster needs Toxic Attraction to add some life sa women's tag team division nila, and they even teased it during that segment that they might go after Damage Control, but it looks like they will stay put in NXT and have this feud. And this is one of the things that NXT gets right, like tag teams breaking up and then feuding. I mean, we already saw it with Gargano and Ciampa, Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox. So this looks like this is going to be one of those great tag teams breaking up and then feuding with Toxic Attraction.
All right. First of all, are y'all serious right now? Like, did you really not think Gigi would be the face here? Do you not know how popular that woman is on Instagram? Aaron and I know how popular Gigi Dolan is on Instagram. Just go to her page and you'll see why.
Si
But,
JC din naman na.
No. Di sila magkapantay. But yes, I agree with Emil. I did manifest it inadvertently on our picks of the week earlier this week, which you should definitely go listen to because we go hard on those episodes. But Emil is right. They should have remained Toxic Attraction on the main roster because, like I said, the main roster desperately needs female tag teams because they do not have one they do, but they haven't gotten there yet. You know, they need more units in that division, and they are obviously not putting in again as much effort into the women's tag division. So, yun, another one of those things na hindi na bibigyan ng effort ng creatives at Triple H. So sad moment again. I know that Toxic Attraction has been around a while, and that may be why they decided to break them up. But that team still had legs on the main roster. Like, they could have been the new It Girls, really. And sayang lang. Yes, you do need Gigi to be a face here, a singles face superstar. But I think that could have waited. Like, there are so many other options around, and especially on the main roster. Like, assuming that's where they're going, you have so many women there and not enough tag teams. So sayang lang talaga. It's nice for Gigi. Yes, I don't think JC is going to be the Shawn Michaels of this, but I could be wrong. We could all be wrong. You know, Mandy ended up being a big time women's champion relatively late in her career, so that could all change. But right now, Gigi is money. No offense to Carmella and Mello.
Yeah. So, okay, what do you guys think? Let us know who you felt would be like the Shawn Michaels of this tag team. Rose, right? I feel sad that another women's tag team has gone their separate ways. Kasi there is a need on the main roster, and Dakota and Io aren't exactly flush with challengers then for their titles. So yun, that's a lost opportunity right there at the cost of setting up Gigi and JC for their singles runs. There. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about AEW, specifically that very weird MJF promo from this morning. And we're also going to talk about some news outside the ring. But first, here's another reminder about the many shows from our other podcasts here on Podcast Network Asia. let's cross over to AEW and let's talk about that weird MJF promo. And the name Katie Vick was trending on Twitter today because people are already comparing it to Katie Vick. I don't want to go that far. I don't think na may
Not the same,
necrophilia
guys.
involved.
Yeah.
It's not the same. That being said, I did not like the way that MJF made himself a self-confessed scumbag. I thought that for those of you who haven't seen the promo, MJF basically told this long-winded story about him getting into his Chevy Camaro and getting into an accident, and then meron siyang kasamang girl sa car, and then he checked to see if she was still breathing, and she was, and then yung ginawa niya, nung narinig niya parating na yung mga pulis, sabi ni MJF, he switched seats daw with the girl so that it would look like she was the one who caused the accident, and MJF was the passenger na naging biktima lang in the car accident. And that was his way.
You forgot the roadhead.
Yes. Which is why yun yung itsura ni MJF in the screenshot, right? So there was also some roadhead involved. Basically, the point MJF was trying to make is that he's a scumbag and he knows it. Here's my problem. There are many other ways to do that without going the very highfalutin, convoluted way that MJF did. I just thought it was very strange to go in that direction narratively. Parang, what does this do for MJF as a character? It doesn't really make him any worse than he already is. Plus, in kayfabe, he confessed to a crime on television. How is that logical?
Can anyone tell me what the actual crime is? I'm not disputing it. I just want to know what the actual crime is.
Framing someone.
For what?
For causing a car accident. Like reckless driving or whatever.
Did anyone get hurt in the accident? They were hydroplaned. It was
Sabi
an
niya,
accident.
Diba naduguan daw sila?
Yeah, but it was an accident. It wasn't like they were drunk or under the influence or anything. It was active nature accident. When I heard the promo, I didn't think it was a crime. It was shitty, yes, to try and make himself look clean, but to my slightly legally trained mind, there was no crime because they just got into an accident. They weren't recklessly driving, and by the time the police would have found them, it wasn't going to be obvious that he was getting roadhead. That was the crime. Yes, he was driving distracted, but nobody else got hurt. Max's property got hurt, and there was only one other person who got hurt. Maybe that's the crime. I don't know. I'm actually asking the question honestly because to me, I didn't see no crime. But were you gonna say something else? Sorry.
No, naman. I was gonna say na distracted driving might have been the crime.
Yeah. People are saying that this was a bad promo. People are saying Stan just said nah, it didn't make MJF look any worse than he already is. To me, I do not have as much of a problem with it as other people. Mostly because obviously it's a fake story. Like if this happened, somebody would have dug it up by now, diba? And I'm sure in the hours that followed the Dynamite broadcast earlier this morning, somebody would have found that in the news.
Or yung mga police files.
Yeah, Max isn't old. There may internet na nung bata pa siya, which wasn't that long ago, right?
Yeah.
I don't even believe he was that kind of jock who had a Chevy Camaro. Like, remember that he was a dorky kid, right?
Yes.
That actually contradicts his previous stories that he told on Dynamite. Exactly.
That's right.
So,
during the CM Punk feud.
Exactly. So I don't believe this one bit. So yung palang, I know that this doesn't do much for his street cred because
Street cred.
I don't believe him one bit. That's why I don't see it's a problem. And second of all, it's not like he had sex with a corpse, even pretend sex with a pretend corpse. So this was not Katie Vick territory. This was not. Ayun, Aaron, thank you. He was speeding. That's the crime. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So I don't think this was again anywhere near Katie Vick. And if speeding was your actual crime, that doesn't make you a badass either. Oh, I got
it'd be like your prison dom.
I'm so gangster. I'm so gangster. I spent.
May teardrop na rin si MJ. Yeah. I just want to say before we get to Emil, we've said this on the podcast before, but like, man, TK and MJF probably need someone to rein them in whenever something is narratively just not a good idea. And that MJF promo from this morning is one of those examples.
No, I don't know. I don't think it was a bad idea. I just think it was stupid, yes, but I don't think it was a bad idea. It was a good attempt to make heat for himself, but it does fall apart when you see through it. I don't think it's a bad idea because the content is terrible, and he makes himself look like a scumbag and makes himself unlikable. I just thought it was bad because it wasn't. It wasn't a good pro. I mean, it wasn't a bad promo. Remember, he's good at delivering it, but it wasn't a credible attempt to make himself look terrible. But I respect the attempt at making himself look terrible. Because uh, you do need something to rile the people up. People were starting to cheer MJF, and yeah, sure. It doesn't make him likable. It doesn't make him cheerable. But again, I go back to that is the whole point of being a heel. You know, um, I respect that part. It just wasn't a good try.
Go,
Emil, go
Emil.
ahead.
Yeah.
Saka, ano if you have been watching MJF over the years, you would know that his stories, yung mga ganito, are all lies, are all pang pa boost lang siguro ng ego niya, but like it's obviously fake stories, and it's very on brand with the salt of the earth character ni MJF. But the only problem siguro na nakikita ko dito, especially lately with MJF, is he says too much just to get his point across. And I think that's one of those things na will never fly in other places like WWE. And for me, his promos lately have been hit or miss. And I think yun na nga no, it would be a good idea for them to get someone who could sort out these promos, which are good, which are not. Like obviously di naman yung to the level of like WWE, where it's parang controlling, too much controlling. I mean, there's no doubt that he is a great promo guy, but sometimes kasi feel ko nagiging mema na lang siya just for the sake of getting heat.
No, that's a
And I
great
know,
point. I actually noticed that myself. Now he says so much to get to so little.
yeah,
Uh, take a go.
and
Go
I
ahead.
know he's beyond that. He could get actual heat now, na not resorting to those depths, no. And pero I think it's also a result of the crowd maybe cheering him, and he just wants the crowd to boo him. But there are ways to do that na di na dadaan sa ganung kachipan na ways of getting heat.
Again, I don't mind the kachipan as long as you're not hurting anyone real and you're not unnecessarily dragging them without their consent.
Yeah.
Diba? But to Stan's point, yes, there is a little too much freedom creatively in AEW. Uh, the reason why Cody didn't work in AEW the same way he's working really well now in WWE is that there is no better creative mind to filter him in AEW the same way he has Heyman and Vince's TV writers on WWE Creative. So you really do need those you really do need those experts who actually know how to write drama. Sometimes because you can't trust the wrestlers to write their own drama. Sometimes it works, yes. Sometimes you have a CM Punk who knows exactly how to tell a story, right? But sometimes you don't. Diba? Cody and MJF do not, right? Uh, I understand that Tony Khan is trying to not do the mistakes that Vince did. People have a lot of issues with Hollywood writers who have no idea about how wrestling works. Pero um, and again, I'm completely speculating on how it all works in WWE right now on the Triple H. But it seems like the Hollywood writers they have are being allowed to do their thing within the context and rules of wrestling. And I do think you need those in AEW. And Tony Khan cannot run it by himself. Kasi he lets the people do way too much for way too little. So sayang yun. It's just it's not bad per se, but it could be a lot better. And with things like this, you really long for uh, a masterful hand when it comes to touching and handling fiction like this.
Yeah. Anything else that we want to get out there? Ikaw, Emil. Otherwise, we can talk
Yeah,
about the guns.
yeah, yun. Nasabi ko na yung ano, yung feelings ko regarding MJF lately. Not just this week, but since siguro he became the champ. That's been my number one issue with him
Right.
in his promos.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. We can add that to in points for improvement, yeah, on top of screaming all the time. All right, let's talk about the Guns, your new AEW World Tag Team Champions. I didn't see this result coming at all. Medyo weird rin how it all went down, but I guess I'm happy that Billy Gunn did not turn again. Uh, Very interesting though towards the end, the Guns didn't celebrate. Like knowing that they cheated and that they got one over the Acclaimed, they didn't look too happy. They looked shocked. Pero hindi yung parang shocked na, oh my God, it actually worked. It's like shocked na parang, what is going on? And I don't know what that means in the larger context of their story.
I have a feeling it was a shoot reaction now. Okay, shit. We actually won the tag team championships over the most over tag team in AEW. Diba? So
And
maybe it could be that. But on the Guns itself, this is weird because yes, it's for heat, but nobody actually takes the Guns seriously, even with Billy Gunn, especially with the Acclaim being the Acclaim. Nobody was getting tired of the Acclaim. Actually, they wanted the Acclaim to wrestle more prestigious tag teams. So I don't know what this is. It's the weirdest AEW tag team champions they have yet, and I don't know where it's going. But again,
Weirder than Keith and Swerve?
because these Keith and Swerve had goodwill from being in WWE, diba? They were big names. Everyone knew them to be good wrestlers. The Guns, kasi were still in many people's eyes a developmental project from AEW Dark, diba? They weren't there yet in a lot of people's eyes. I knew they were good. They were capable. Yes, they're solid as a tag team, but they're not like over the moon the same way the Acclaimed are, and the same way the Acclaimed have managed to do for themselves. So, again, it's strange, but I'm again also happy that Billy Gunn did not turn because it looked like he was going to last week.
Diba? And even today, like when he was standing over Bowens, diba?
Yeah, exactly.
and I hate this. I hate the tag team win because I just can't take the Guns seriously. I
Yun
just
pa,
can't.
exactly what I said.
And for me, they really look like goons rather than a legitimate team. Parang sila yung 'di ba sa mga pelikula dati ni FPJ, sila yung goons nung kontrabida. And imagine mo goons nanalo over the popular tag team. It doesn't feel right. And for me, they're the weakest champ. They're by far the weakest champions AEW ever had. And the fact that they won the titles first over teams like Top Flight and ano pa ba yung mas better sa kanila na tag team. The fact that they won the titles before any other deserving team, it's nakainis lang. And like you have faith in TK to always like do the right thing in terms of booking who's gonna win the championship, but this is this is a an L for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're actually the first ones from the firm to win gold. So, yay, Stokely.
Aaron brings up a good point. They didn't celebrate that much because
Yeah.
it looked like they thought they would get their dad back. That's an interesting wrinkle, but that for now that's fan fiction. That
nga.
is Myth GIF's level of fan fiction at the moment. So until they substantiate that in a future segment or promo, I will not believe that.
Yeah, same here. I don't want to give them too much credit because they still have to do their work to tell the story.
Saka doing a swerve or a surprise title win for the sake of just having a surprise, it is always not a great move. Like, yeah, it can be a nice it can be great, but this is not an example of something na doing a surprise title win benefits all. This one, wala lukewarm yung reaction ng mga tao, including us. And yeah, there are other ways to tell the story without the Guns winning the titles, but I don't know. I don't know why they went that way. Maybe there's gonna be something else down the line na will find it would make sense. Nanalo sila ng tag team
No,
titles.
it doesn't even make sense business wise. So, Ina here says it's Guns versus FTR. Yeah, that makes sense because Revolution is coming up in a few weeks, diba? But that's not even your money match. Like Acclaim versus FTR is your money match. Nobody's coming here to buy tickets to see the Guns. you know, they didn't even boo that hard, I believe, for the Guns, diba? So
Yeah.
I don't understand why this was this was considered a good business decision.
It was a choice, and we're gonna leave it at that. Something else that is also a choice: the way that Saraya and Tony Storm have been taking from the NWO and making it their own. And man, I just lost it. Parang wala na. I don't really care for Saraya and Tony anymore.
I do. I still
I'm
do.
just
Like,
done with this.
I don't mind the partnership because Tony is putting in the work of her life, but this is kind of corny, yes. But I say L all the time, so I don't really mind them spray painting L's. It just needs to come together in a really good way, and it's plagued by the problems. Na AEW creative is only really just Tony Khan and his underlings without the expertise of actual screenwriters, diba? So uh it could have been good, it could have been something, it could have been NWO, but right now it's not. But I'm a fan of Tony Storm, I'm a fan of Soraya, so I'm willing to let it pass. So um I think there's still time to turn this around. It's not like we've been getting fed months of Bray Wyatt nonsense.
So I've been seeing on Twitter na people are kind of ragging on Saraya and her acting. I can't really tell naman if she's like that bad of an actor. That's not my issue. Like I have a bigger issue with Saraya and Tony acting like mean girls from the 2000s, like holding up L's over their foreheads and calling people loser. Parang that is such a 2000s mean girl / bully thing to do. Like what is the 2020s equivalent of that? Why aren't they doing that?
I won't go. Maybe nobody's watched Euphoria. I don't know.
Right? Like, oh, okay. Yung mga coming of age movies from the current era, they always have like some element of a kid using social media or like live streaming to like bully someone. Why isn't any mean girl in wrestling doing that today?
Wala. Si Stevie Turner lang yung streamer.
Yes.
But
I don't know.
yeah,
I just think it's so 2000s. Like it's been 2 decades.
yun nga, it goes back to the writer problem. But yes, anyway, Emil, sorry.
Yeah, na-cornyan pa ako dito sa storyline na to, pero I guess I will siguro let them develop this since this is way too early to I think to judge. Pero not a good look so far. And yeah, mukhang 2000s yung trip nila na to yung L yung ganito. That's such a 2000s thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't get off on the right foot, diba? Kasi out of nowhere, nag-double turn seemingly sina Britt and Jamie and Saraya and Tony, and now they have this. So, they're kind of behind the 8 ball here.
Yeah. The double turn was fine. Again, a lot of things were not executed well, creative wise. Yeah, that's the problem with Tony Khan. We've already said everything we need to say about that.
Sabi ni Aaron, the equivalent in the 2020s is cyberbullying. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really depict that on TV. That's why they had to turn to the 2000s tropes.
Yeah.
When I come up with a better example, I will try to bring it up. Wala rin ako maisip yan, to be very honest.
Diba?
All right.
Well, no,
I will...
the good last thing, the good thing saving them is Tony Storm's wrestling. That's it.
Yeah, I will agree with that. And on the note of me being unable to come up with a better example, I will take the proverbial L. All right,
Well, you
let's
don't
talk
have
about.
to. Here, go on. Go ahead.
All right,
Let's
let's
move
talk
on.
about some good news. Let's go outside the ring and let's talk about Jerry the King Lawler, who is on his way to recovery, according to people close to the King. After he suffered a stroke earlier this week, he's in better condition now. Medyo nahihirapan pa raw magsalita, but he's able to communicate. And as far as we know, as of this recording, people on Twitter have been giving updates naman on his health. And it looks to be promising naman. So, on behalf of the podcast, we're pulling for Jerry the King Lawler, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest King fan anymore. I wasn't really even the biggest King fan back when we were back in his heyday 20 years ago. But you know, uh, I've lost people to strokes, and this it's good that he survived it. So kudos to him. I'm sure there are people who still love him, who love him dearly, and it's good that he gets to survive another day.
Yeah, and Jerry Lawler has been through much in his life. I mean, he had that heart attack on Raw 11 years ago, and he's still here. And yeah, in a business where we lose people way too young, it's great that we have people like Lawler who ilan na siya? 70 na ata siya, di ba? 70
Yeah, he's way
plus.
past 70.
Yeah, so 70, and hoping for a good recovery for the King, and hoping for more years of Jerry Lawler in the business.
So hindi pala way past 70. He is 73.
Yeah,
There.
73.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
So there. Yeah,
Can't
again,
believe
on
he was
behalf.
in. I can't believe he was in his 50s when we started watching. I thought he was way older than that.
Yeah, me too.
Oh well. Yeah. We're just happy that we don't have to talk about another wrestling death this week. Yun lang.
Yeah,
We've
that's true.
talked about too many wrestling deaths in the 9 years since the podcast has been around. So there. That's gonna do it for the news outside the ring. Let's talk about what we've got going on outside. Emil, do you have anything that you want the listeners to know about?
No, just follow me on TikTok for some sports opinions. I'll probably post some after tomorrow's deadline, so watch out for that. And also, yeah, TikTok email underscore Meister22, and on Twitter at email underscore Meister.
All right, go Ro.
Yeah, please support local wrestling. MWF is about to start taping again soon for Action Novela TV. The new venue, I believe, is pretty cool, pretty awesome. It's in along Congressional Avenue in Quezon City. So if you're up north, if you're from up north and you want to see some live action again, please do check it out. ManilaWrestling.com for to subscribe to our gang page as well to catch up on everything that's happened over the past year. And if you can't make it to the live Action Novela TV taping, you can catch the future episodes on that. It's only $10. Around 549 pesos on Gank. You can pay via credit card, debit card, and Gcash. So a lot of options for you. Also support us on TikTok at Wrestling2X Pod. And, posting has been slowed down a little bit because I've been busy. But, syempre, we bring you the hottest cinema that we've been getting lately. Yun lang.
Saka ano pala, yung
Oh yeah, MWF. Sorry. Fred, yes, you're
MJ,
right.
yeah.
MWF and Eyewitness. I believe this is showing on Saturday. So Cara David checked out the training over at Brawl Pit Bulusan, and it seemed to be a pretty meaningful and non-judgmental look on not just pro wrestling but local pro wrestling. So please do check that out if you still, have TV and if you still watch the TV and GMA.
And
Yeah.
saka if you haven't seen the Family Feud episode
Yeah.
of the
Is that
NWF
on
wrestlers,
is that
that
on
was a good.
YouTube or
I think it is.
It is online.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they
ayun,
upload it
yeah.
naman. So if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it, please do see it. It was great seeing MWF wrestlers on TV. And di ba nanalo sila? Nanalo sila,
Yeah,
no?
they won. Yeah,
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 yeah.
and they donated the proceeds to Angat Buhay Inc., which is really
Yes.
cool. Really, really cool.
Yeah. So there. For me naman, if you missed my podcast, my pandemic podcast project, yung On Deck with Stancy. I'm bringing it back this quarter, so maybe later this month. I'm just gathering my thoughts now that I have stepped away from radio again. Probably get into that in the current season of On Deck with Stancy when that picks up. In the meantime, you can always follow us on social media. It is at Wrestling2X Pod on Twitter and TikTok and Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify. It is at Wrestling Podcast. And of course, you can hit us up at Roas War, at Chino Supersized, at Monday Night Rowan, and as Emil said, at EML_Meister. For me, it is at _Stan C. Thank you very much to Babyface producer Mike and all the other PNA producers behind the scenes. They do a lot of legwork, and we got to meet some of them in person last week. We're going to see them again in March when we come back for another live stream. And in April, ito na, we're letting you guys know that we're having our live anniversary podcast in April. So we want you to be part of the experience. So we'll give you more as they become available kasi naayos lang namin yung logistics and scheduling on our end. All right, we'll catch you on Tuesday. Picks of the week. There, that's correct. Picks of the week on Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. On behalf of Emil SH and Ro Moran, my name is Stan C. Stay safe, be kind. Wrestling Podcast out.
Peace.